Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. So I've got a new filming setup. You guys are actually directly above me. I don't have to worry, well I just hit the cord, but I don't have to worry about tripods and work around that, so I'm pretty excited to kind of have, like, I have arm space and I'm not like hugging a tripod and trying to talk to you guys. I digress, back to why we're here. I picked this up, I actually pre-ordered it from Simon Says Stamp. It is the Waffle Flower Crafts Water Media Mat, so it is their big white mat that they previewed at CHA. I had posted a picture of this over on my Instagram channel, and I'd asked if people wanted to see a video or if they thought there were plenty of them out there, and they weren't interested, but a few people said yes, they'd like to see it. I'm sorry about the reflection. That's gone as soon as you take this plastic cover off, FYI, which is super awesome. Anyway, and I had a few people say yes, so I figured I would pop on and kind of open it up and try and stain it and do a bunch of things with it that I look for in a mat and see what I personally think of it. Now, I did buy this with my own money. This was not given to me. This was not sent to me to tell you guys I love it. This was nothing. I paid for this with my own dollars that I make at my day job. So I picked this one up, and to go along with it, I decided to grab a Waffle Flower Crafts stamp set. I've always been interested in their stamps and just haven't picked one up. I don't know. I just haven't. It's nothing personal. I think they made beautiful stamps. They're super cute. Their florals are great. Their little critters and things are super fun. I'd like to get a couple of those to play with down the road. But to kick things off, I did pick up their Magnolia stamp. So you get this big Magnolia with a couple little buds on him, and he's got a branch. Then you get some feathers and then a couple other little ones. So I picked this one up. I'm not sure we'll use it in this video. It depends on how long things get. But I will do something with this in the near future. So when you get it, it comes with a clamshell packaging. I like this one because it slits over top. You could cut this out here, like where it fits over top of these pans. You could cut this out and lay it over top to not worry about staining or anything like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet or not, so I am going to hang on to this. I will also like reuse a lot of this packaging. I'll cut out this whole middle part and use the transparency to make shaker cards and things of that nature, as opposed to just like chucking it in the recycle bin. Let's use it again first, and then I will recycle all of the other parts. So when I say bin things, a lot of the time when we're talking about plastic, cardboard, paper, etc., it does go in my recycle bin. So we'll set that off to the side. The little paperwork that comes on top of it says, for more product info and creative ideas, follow Waffle Flower Crafts on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Share on IG with hashtag Waffle Flower Crafts or hashtag WFC Water Media Mat. Non-stick, waterproof, and heat resistance. This is made of 100% silicone. I do believe it's food grade silicone, so that's awesome. I am going to keep this cardboard backer for right now, just to put this on. If I'm not using it all the time, I'm going to see how much I like it before I know how much I'm going to use it. But let's start by zooming in a little bit here. Let's see. This should fit. I'm not quite perfectly level here, but this should fit in our camera fairly well because of the size it is set to be. My camera is not perfectly level, but it's close enough for you guys. So here is our mat, all up close and personal. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 mixing areas for different kinds of medias. You can use ink, ink acrylics, watercolors, you know, your sprays, all that kind of fun stuff on this mat. It should clean up fairly easily. I've got an air bubble under mine because I've just left it on its piece of cardboard, so you want to lay it down slowly so that you don't get those big air pockets trapped underneath your silicone. If I took the time to level this, this would be a whole lot simpler. But anyway, it's got little markers in the corner here, so that can frame you up to make sure you're level, like I'm currently not, for filming YouTube videos. You've also got smaller ones here that will give you a square for Instagram, etc. So you got all types of fun markings. You can definitely turn it and use it the long way if you like to keep your paints and everything up near the top. I tend to work with my pellets on this side, which is awkward, and I don't know why I do it because I'm right-handed, but I like to reach across and grab what I need. I think it's so that I don't put my arm in everything. So it feels really nice. It's definitely nice and bright white. I am going to just spray it here and give it a quick wipe because I did get dust on it and things while I've been talking and rubbing it to see what it feels like. I use rags. I don't use paper towels, simply because I don't want to throw that much stuff away, so I use these, and then I'll do a load of laundry like once a week or once every couple weeks, depending on how much work I've been doing down in the craft room. to clean everything up. So you can see they're stained with acrylic paints and all that kind of stuff. But that's all these rigs are used for. So let's start. Let's take it off. I don't know if I want to take it off there yet. I don't know. Okay. So here's our mat. Am I in frame? I am fuzzy. There we go. Okay, I'm going to start by grabbing some different mediums and things, and let's throw stuff on here and see what it does. I will be right back. Okay, so one of the first things I like to do when I am painting, which is what I would use this for, most of all would probably be my watercolors, is I like to tape my watercolor paper down to a surface so that it doesn't warp and stuff so much. So let's start by seeing if we can tape this down to this mat. Like I said, I haven't played with this mat at all. I don't know if things are going to stick to it, what's going to happen here. I know that it's heat resistant and things, but is our tape going to actually stick to this, or is it just going to peel right off? It sticks, but it doesn't stick great. Like it's definitely not sticking as hard as it does when I do it on one of my cutting boards or on a piece of hardboard or something of that nature, but we'll throw some water on this and see what happens here once we get her all taped down. So, not being too fussy over how big my borders are. I'm usually a lot more particular than that, but we're just kind of throwing some stuff down. So, there she's taped on. The tape kind of lifts in the corners. Like I said, it's not sticking perfectly, which I didn't expect because this is silicone and things don't stick to silicone. So let's spray this down with a little bit of water. Do I have a brush? This will work. It doesn't have to be a watercolor brush. That one's a little small. Paint this up with some water. We'll get her nice and wet. I do have my stone ground paints here. So this is my stone ground palette. I tend to work out of palettes mostly, but we're going to kind of play here and see about mixing in this. So I'm just going to set this up here. That's soaking with water, no big deal. Let's see how fast this thing stains. Let's take some Pyrrole Reds. So these are stone ground paints. These are made here in Saskatchewan. Now, reds are probably one of our most staining colors, hence why I grabbed that one. I want a little bigger brush just to pull some water. I don't know where my watercolor brushes are, but this will work, whatever. So if I add a whole bunch of water to this, water it down. It's like mixing colors, right? You can take it and, I don't know, what else should we add to it? Let's add a little brilliant orange. Orange is a color that stains as well. Make it a little more of a red orange, or an orange red I should say. And then let's put it on top of our little piece of paper here. I'll use this big flat brush that we had. I like how big these wells are. They're big enough for a nice 1-inch flat wash brush to go into, which is always a bonus. Let's take a little more red here. This is not a watercolor flat brush, that's why it's wiping so much off and being so absorbent, but it'll work for play here. So it's bubbling up. It hasn't released from the edges really. It's not stuck down terribly well, but as long as I'm not touching it, it doesn't seem to be lifting off of the mat, which is great. It means I can probably do a project on here for on camera. It's not something I would leave taped down for any sort of days on end like I do. Like when I do some of my watercolor pieces, they take like 3-4 days because I do them after work and in the evening once the boy's in bed and stuff of that nature. But I wouldn't do that on this mat simply because of it being silicone and everything not sticking so great. So that's there. Let's clean out our little tray here. See how bad we've stained this one. If it's super stained, that square will become red square. Same with purple. Like if it gets super stained and I can't get it out, that will become purple. So that's, but it wipes off. Like if I take, hang on, let me grab, I do have paper towel. I use it sometimes. I try not to, but I do. Put a little water in there, and I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm just going to scrub it a little bit here. So it's still pretty stained. I don't think I have any like a magic eraser or anything. This is stamp cleaner, which isn't like anything potent, but you can get that back pretty white. Like I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, that'll all come out. Look. She's slightly discolored. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. which is good because it means it won't affect the color in person, like on camera for you guys, but I can see a little bit, like I'm being super nitpicky. That came clean, and that's a super stainy red. That makes me happy. That square right there made me happy. So let's dry this guy and see if that forces this tape to lift off the mat. Pardon the noise here. I would normally cut this out or be doing a voiceover so you guys wouldn't be hearing it, but I kind of want to leave everything in real time here and not have you guys seeing jump cuts and me telling you after the fact. So I'm going to do this until it gets snapped back straight. So watercolor being cotton will lay back to perfectly flat. There, she's dry. Okay. So the tape isn't perfectly stuck down. You guys can kind of see that on camera, how it bows. It almost gets like a belly. That means it's not adhered directly to the surface anymore. I push it back down, it won't stick back down. But that stayed on there pretty well. We'll go in and add a little bit more paint. I am going to grab my watercolor brushes so that I can do this a little bit easier instead of using acrylic brushes. So I will be right back. I grab my watercolor brushes. That'll just make some things a little easier. So I've got here one of my Lindy Stamp Gain Starbursts. This one is in Shabby Turbine Teal. Now this and red don't really go, but I'm not too worried about what it looks like. I'm just kind of throwing things on it to see what's going to happen as we're working on this thing. So let's throw a bunch of that on there. That again is something I will just, you can see all the overspray all over it, including my light gray sweater. Fantastic, Jessie. That'll teach ya. Okay, so I'm just going to sop up the excess on the edge and bring in my heat gun and dryer again. I don't want to lose all that sparkle. I don't want to soak up all that liquid. I want that to stay on here. You can see this mat's getting to be pretty messy. If I go like this, you can probably see the color like slides around because it's on there. So we'll get this all dried up again. I like to play with my sprays, especially shimmery sprays, to make hard edges and things. I just think it's fun. So I can tell you now, I'll show you guys as soon as I'm finished here, this tape let up and it is leaking underneath. You can see this dark line here. Now again, it was silicone. I didn't expect the painter's tape to stick to it perfectly well because of the surface it is. Things don't stick to silicone. That's why people use silicone, like around your toilet or on your bathroom sinks and things. It creates a great seal and stuff doesn't stick to it. That's the whole purpose in silicone. But as for doing backgrounds, watercolors where you're not putting a ton of water on, I think it would be great. So let's peel this up here and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. See? It didn't stick. So it started letting go off the paper and then, or off the ground, and then it started letting go on the paper. So everything soaked in behind it. Right? That's not a fault of the project. That's just what silicone does. Will I still use this mat? Thus far? Heck yes. All the time. So let's dry that up and just set that off to the side. You can see how messy our mat is. You can see my white rectangle from where I had that tape down. Oh, my water bottle's almost empty. This will have to fill her. Wipe it up, and it should come back to clean super simple because it is silicone. This light teal should not stain it. I might need to grab a clean towel here, but I can use that piece of paper towel a little more too here at the end. So this one is that slightly discolored, but it's nothing you guys can see on camera from what I can tell. I am going to just spray it with a little bit of stamp cleaner. Finish wiping it up. Oh yeah, that went right back to white. Fantastic. That makes me really happy. That's not something you can usually do when you use red pigments. You're usually like, well, this is now going to be red forever and ever. So that was super fun. I'm going to grab a couple more things here and we're going to throw some more things on this as soon as it finishes drying. Okay, let's just throw some more things on this mat. This will work great for things like ink backgrounds because you can put your ink right on top. I'm still almost out of water. I forgot to fill up. Spray it and you can do your little ink smooshing and things of that nature. You could easily paint with your distress inks on here. I'm not going to put a lot of that on. I don't want to waste it. But you can definitely paint with your distress inks here and you should have no issues with that. Where did I put my rag? Acrylic paints. I grabbed, oh look, all the dry stuff from around the lid. That's okay. I grabbed, this is Laidback Lilac from Dylusions. Just gonna take some of that out, show you guys how easy that cleans up. We gotta let that one dry. We're gonna let all of these dry. And then when they're dry, I'll come back and we'll clean these up. What else can we throw in here in the interim? I don't know. I have no idea. This is kind of the stuff I use all the time. There isn't much more that I use that is like anything sort of different. Glitter glue should come up easy. This is Rock Candy Clear Stickles. Throw some of that on there. I ripped the brush out because I didn't like it, so I stuck my finger in it. And yeah, okay, once these ones are dry, we will come back and see what happens. Okay, well, you guys wouldn't know this, but it's been a couple hours, and ironically, I must have really gotten this wet, because it's not dry yet, which is super funny, but that's okay. It's Distress Oxide. We know that'll clean up. The Reinker is kind of tacky, but that's simply because it's thick, right? And the acrylic paint is dry. So, still didn't fill my spray bottle, but I got a little one here. We'll use it. So these should be easily re-wet completely and picked up. I need to fill my other spray bottle. This thing's terrible. Anyway. So this should be fairly easy. It is going to take a little bit of patience to get into those 90-degree corners on this 9x12 area to work on. But it stained it. Look. I don't know if that'll come up. Hang on. We'll try, because it's been hours. And I mean, I'm not opposed to this if it's going to get stained. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, it just means it wouldn't be a perfectly white area for YouTube, but I'll survive. No, look. A little bit of elbow grease. I got an air bubble under there that's bothering me, but that's okay. A little bit of elbow grease and she comes right up. And I didn't like have to scrub real hard or anything, but I know you guys could see that stain on video. And it came right up with a little bit of elbow grease. Okay, then over here I am going to pull out. Okay, I would recommend taking this thing off the cardboard backing, because that's about enough to drive me insane now. So we'll put it on top of my high swap mat here. So there. We'll go like that. That's a little better. Still doesn't slip and slide around. That makes me happy. And it doesn't have the air bubbles underneath. So for this, the way I would clean it is I would take one of my palette knives. This is just a flat one. And give it a scratch and it should all come off. I don't want to scratch it too hard because I definitely don't want to injure the mat by putting a scratch on it. Latex paint on silicone comes off fairly easy. I know this because I paint residential and commercial property for a living. That's why I'm just like, it comes off pretty easy. So this is just a little bit of water on top of it, just to give your rag a little slip, so that when you go over top of it, it's a little bit slippery, but it all just comes right off. Super simple. And that's just to wipe all the little crummy pieces off here. Oh look, I stained my finger blue. So let's dust this all off. There's a few little crumblies on it. When it's dry, I would just pick it up and shake it, and they should all fall off. This rag is filthy. That one needs to get washed. That one needs to get washed. I don't know why I'm talking with a dorky accent, but just a little scrub. See? and she's as good as new. It just needs to dry up. So I love the fact that stuff doesn't stick to it. I don't think I'd use alcohol inks on it. I think those would stain it permanently. And I think like your alcohol lift solution or your mixative, which is what you would use to get it off, might actually damage the silicone. Now that's just me harboring a guess, but that's kind of my first thoughts on this mat here. I am going to turn this one off and get it ready to upload, and then I'm going to film another one so you guys can see kind of what my opinion on it is on it while I work on it. So we're going to make an actual card on it. But that'll be another video. So I will talk to you guys all very soon. If you're interested in the media mat or anything like that, I will have links in the description box below. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. Hit the bell icon if you want to see anything else I upload. Thumbs up help me out a ton on this channel. It allows my videos to get seen by other people. And I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.